We're here to talk about growth, every advisor's favorite topic. My name is Patrick Brewer, and if you have been an advisor for any stretch of time, you've probably wondered, what's the best way to grow your practice? How do you get more people that aren't clients right now to knock on your door and hire you for advisory services?
I don't know how you did it dressed as a garbage man, but you really pulled it off in there. Thank you very much.
Most advisors, when they think about this, turn to marketing. It's the natural first step. You start reading about how to generate leads, you build your own lead funnel system, maybe you're writing blogs, you're changing colors of the buttons on your website. 6 months later, you're $25,000 poorer and you have no new clients for your efforts.
I ain't seen a beating like that since somebody stuck a banana in my pants and turned the monkey loose.
We've all been there, myself included, but what I want to talk about today is the number one activity, the one thing that you need to do for 60 minutes a day to add significant value to your practice, which doesn't cost you any money. I call this system the exponential relationship system. The goal is to accumulate exponential jumps in trust by doing very specific actions to advance a relationship. Now, this could be a relationship with a new client, it could be a center of influence, an existing client of the firm, but what we're trying to do here is figure out very specific ways to move that person to the next stage. Now, what you're probably thinking is, Patrick, how much time is this gonna take? Am I gonna have to spend 6 to 12 hours a day taking people out to lunch and dinner and doing events and all this stuff? And the answer is it will take some time. It's usually about 60 to 90 minutes a day is what I'm gonna ask you to block off in order to do these activities consistently and effectively. But the results are going to be much more significant than you spending money on marketing or you just unintentionally spreading energy out. This will generally result in 1 to 2 new clients a month and usually 2 to 3 rock solid COI partnerships within the first 12 months of performing these activities.
Let me tell you something. There is no nobility in poverty.
And the process is relatively straightforward for the exponential relationship system. I'm gonna jump through an Excel doc for most of this video, but I'm just gonna give you a quick flyover of the 3-step process that you'll need to follow in order to be successful. Number 1, you're gonna need to create a list of 10 to 15 people that you want to strategically advance in the relationship process. So this could be new clients, prospects, centers of influence, other influential people in the community, or maybe people that you don't even know on LinkedIn or Twitter that you feel like you could have a good vibe with and could be good fits for your practice in some way. Number 2, define the next level action to move that relationship forward. And number 3, you're going to need to actually do the work. So this is where the rubber meets the road. You may be surprised or you might not be surprised at the number of advisors who write out their plan to build better relationships and then other things happen, they have to deliver a financial plan and they don't actually get around to it.
The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy, it's that I just don't care.
So let's jump through this 3-step process more specifically and go to Excel. All right, we're here in Excel and we're gonna go through what I call the headliner list, which is the Excel spreadsheet that you could use to basically do the 3 steps that I mentioned in the video. So what you're gonna be doing here is you're gonna start by listing the 10 to 15 people that you think have the highest probability of moving your business forward, whether they are prospects, leads, new clients, etc. You can see up here on the spreadsheet, in addition to listing 5 kind of hypothetical individuals that we're going to be advancing relationships with in this video, I've also added the description for each of these relationship stages, which is what I want to cover first because it's important that you understand that a relationship is a process. Most advisors think about business development in a very unintentional way, where they think they have a bunch of people in their network, clients, etc., and they view them all equally instead of breaking them down and being very intentional about where these people are actually at in the process of becoming what we call raving fans, which is people that really want to see you win and they're proactively introducing other people to your services. Let's start with prospects. So a prospect is basically anybody who doesn't know you or your firm yet. It could be somebody that looks like a good fit on LinkedIn, could be an influential person in the community, really anyone who doesn't know you but could be a good fit for your services. Next up, we've got leads. A lead is someone who is skeptically curious about your services. They maybe have some level of interest. They kind of know what you do. They may need your service, but they don't know exactly how it works for them. New clients are someone who just engaged, signed up, and became a paying client of your business. Average clients are people who are using your services, but maybe not all of them. They know that you do investments, but they don't really leverage you for financial planning. Maybe you sell some insurance, but they don't know you do investments. And usually they're not asking you any questions outside of your core expertise. So they're really just interested in what you can do for them as it relates to their financial life. Great clients are people who trust your advice. Trust is a formula: reliability plus credibility plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. It's in a great book called The Trusted Advisor. Recommend you pick it up if you haven't read it already. And here we have somebody who you've built trust with. There's an intimate connection there. They're asking you for your advice on topics that are outside of just financial planning, investments, and the things that they're paying you for. And they really value your opinion. And finally, we've got raving fans. These are people who are very similar to great clients, but they are just proactively introducing you. They're making referrals currently to your services. The great clients have yet to refer you. All right, so let's go through these 5 names here. So like I said, step 1 is going to be, you're going to go through your list of either clients, people that you know, people that you'd like to know, and you're going to put 10 to 15 people down, 10 to 15 names down on this sheet. And if it's relevant, you will put down their company name as well. You can see here I've got these companies listed. And then what I did is I marked the stages. What stage are these 5 individuals at currently? You can see that Joe Smith is a lead, which means that he's skeptically curious. He's not a client yet. We've got Jane Rogers, who's one of our great clients, Ron Burgundy, who's a prospect, Sam Jenkins, who's a new client, and then Chris Farley, who is a lead. So I wanted to get a broad spread on these so I can kind of give you some examples as it relates to step 2, which is the next actionable step in the relationship. How do we move these relationships forward from a prospect to a lead to a new client? You can see how this is a process. And once we make these small trust deposits, these relational deposits, the trust curve goes exponential. It's about accelerating trust instead of just meeting with them once a year and then 10 years goes by and we're like, okay, I'm your financial advisor. We don't really know each other. That's great. You're a client, but you don't really want to see me win. I don't really know you. We need to get around that. And this exponential relationship system is how we do it. Let's talk through how we move these people amongst the various relationship stages. So if we start with Joe Smith and we come over here to the right, the next step that I came up with in advancing the relationship with Joe Smith is to offer him a free stock option evaluation. I call these give to get offers. They're low commitment, generally easier for an advisor to perform than a full financial plan. And in this case, Joe is a technology executive. He works for Google. So depending on the types of clients that you focus on working with, that will influence your give to get offer. So if you're working with retirees, you may want to use a Social Security analysis, a free Medicare evaluation session. But for Joe, we've already been connected somehow. He's in our sphere of influence. And what I would do here is I would reach out to Joe either through LinkedIn or through email or text, or depending on the level of connection I have with him. And I would say, hey, Joe, I was just thinking about you. I do these free stock option evaluations each month. I usually do about 2. I had somebody bail. They're traveling to Greece this month. They don't have capacity to do it. You just thought about you and thought it might be worthwhile to just toss that out there. Not sure if you're running into any issues around this or not. By the way, if you're enjoying this content, you're finding it helpful, make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications. It will make sure that you see any new content that's released, and it will also help support the channel so that I can continue to produce this content every week with your new role at Google. So that's a very low commitment way to say, hey, Joe, I'm thinking about you, intimacy, I care about you. I'm reliable. I'm following up on something that you didn't even ask for, kind of trying to predict your needs. And I'm credible. I can do this stock option evaluation for you in a way that's going to add value to your life. And I'm not asking you to pay me for it. Very low self-orientation here. So if Joe has any questions about stock options, he'll probably be like, all right, yeah, I'm interested. I'd like to get a little bit of free advice as it relates to this problem in my life that I'm not equipped to solve. And at the end of that process, you would obviously say, if you got value from this, would love to talk to you about my comprehensive kind of financial planning services, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that on this video, whole separate dialogue there that would need to happen. But eventually, Joe's going to end up in this new client phase. That's the plan anyway. If he doesn't, and he's not susceptible or not interested, rather, susceptible is kind of the negative connotation, but not interested in you advancing a relationship with him, eventually he would fall off this list, right? You could put somebody else on there. So you don't want to just continue to pepper Joe Smith if he tells you he's not interested, or you can just tell that he's not really getting value from your advances. Okay. Then we've got Jane Rogers. Jane Rogers is a great client. She trusts our advice. She asks us questions outside of our core expertise, but she's never really sent us anybody, never sent us any other clients or people that could become clients. What are we going to do here? Well, the next step here is to ask her. We need to ask her for an introduction. And we've got a really great relationship with her, so this shouldn't feel awkward. And if your initial reaction is one of fear or anxiety around asking for introductions, then I recommend that you check out a podcast episode by a gentleman named Dan Allison, and a man. That's an interesting way to introduce him. A man named Dan Allison, a gentleman named Dan Allison. He's a gentleman sometimes. I've hung out with him outside of work. He's mostly a gentleman. And Michael Kitsis. So check out this episode 153 on generating more productive referrals by closing the gap with prospects, yada, yada, yada. And if you still have questions about the process, my consulting company, Model FA, we help people figure out how to do this in a way that doesn't feel awkward, salesy, or pushy. And Dan is actually one of the principals at Model FA. So check that out. There's also a bunch of other people that do conversations and things around referrals. So you could probably just Google referral marketing financial advisor. But either way, at this stage, you need to do what we call a feedback marketing session or ask for referrals. And that is what gets people to move to the raving fan stage. You can see how you probably wouldn't want to ask just a new client to give you a referral, because they're not, there's no intimacy there. It's going to feel weird to them. So that's why we wait until generally the great client stage to do that. Ron Burgundy. Ron Burgundy works at Apple. He is a prospect, which means we don't know him yet, but he looks like, based on his LinkedIn profile or just, from a friend of yours that mentioned him in a conversation, he could be a good fit. So what are we going to do here? How do we get Ron to pay attention to us? Well, generally, we're going to want to start with a warm introduction. So ideally, there'd be a friend in your network who could make an introduction to Ron, where you could offer something of value, similar to that give to get offer. If you were just coming in completely cold, then generally what you'll do is you'll send them an email or a Loom video, similar to this one, which is kind of an icebreaker, so that you can establish some form of a connection. And ideally, you would have something of value to offer, whether that's the stock option evaluation, an event that you thought might be interesting to him, something that is pertinent to his life stage, his employment, etc. And this obviously becomes a lot easier if you have niched your practice down. That's why marketers tend to talk about becoming more focused in your efforts. It's easier to build these give to get offers. It's easier to position. It's easier to market. It's easier to break through the noise if you focus your energy on a specific type of individual. So in this case, we record a video. We say, hey, Ron, what's going on, man? I talked to Andrew over at, I think it was Apple. And Andrew mentioned that you would be a great guy to get to know. Him and I were having dinner a couple weeks ago, and your name came up. And he just said that you had just started the company, that you've been a great addition already. And, I know a couple folks, so I figured I'd reach out. Generally, what I do for people in Apple is I help them with their stock options. So not sure if you're struggling with that, but if you are, be happy to do free stock option evaluation. So you can see kind of where I'm going with this, but the goal is to offer them something of value. Another way to move somebody from a prospect to a lead is to get their feedback on a particular part of your process. So you could reach out and say, hey, I'm testing something that I think might be valuable for executives, but I'm not 100% sure. And I'd love to pay for a little bit of your time, just interview you and kind of walk you through what I'm thinking to get your feedback. And then at the end of that process, you could obviously say, hey, I'd love to do this for you for free. So you can see if you like the deliverable. And as you can probably guess, it kind of progresses from there. And sometimes it doesn't, which is okay. No expectations. Sam Jenkins, Dropbox. So you can see we've got a little bit of a tech niche going on here. So this also starts to help you focus your awareness around what are the pockets in your community, the types of people that you enjoy working with, the types of clients that you have already that may actually already produce a level of niche in your practice. So you don't have to jump feet first into a new niche and have to reinvent your whole life, but you can start to see trends if you stick to this process. We've got Sam Jenkins here. Sam is a new client and he just joined the firm. What are we going to do for him? Well, in order to build intimacy with a new client, we should probably send him a welcome gift box with items that reflect his interests and passions that he explained during the discovery meeting. This is a very low friction way to say, hey man, I was thinking about you, I care about you, and here's some things that you mentioned during our meeting that I heard and I thought were pretty interesting. So I wanted to support those ideas for you in your life. Okay. And there's obviously more things you can do here. I'm just giving you ideas. The key with these next actionable steps is that they're actually actionable. It can't be like, wait to see Joe out at a networking event. It's like, well, that's not actionable. Like, where are we going to meet him? Like, is he coming? Like, they need to be very actionable in order to be on that list there. And then we got Chris Farley. Chris is a dentist at a company called DentalWorks, and he has expressed an interest in or is curious about your services in some regard. Okay, so what are we going to do for him? Well, we're going to send him an email with a link to an innovative software platform that we found on the web. I included this one because, again, this just gets more back to that niche focus. Let's say we were focused on dentists and we were plugged into the dental community on Twitter. We were seeing the different types of technology they were using. We were going to their conferences. We were just really plugged into the influencers, and we understood the dental industry almost as well as we understood the financial industry. At least, who are the players? What are they talking about? Where's the global kind of attention of the broad attention of the market? And let's say we came across this website, Overjet, and we're like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I've seen a lot of doctors talk about trying to improve the lives of their patients with AI. And, you just did a cursory overview of this solution. And you're like, man, this would actually be like really great for Chris based on what he was mentioning the last time we talked. And it's not related to finances. It's not like, hey, Chris, I know that you're somewhat interested. Life's busy. Want to come in for a full comprehensive financial plan? It's like, hey, Chris, just thinking about you, man. I know that you mentioned client care was a big focus for you guys in Q3. Came across this vendor, like not sure if you've seen them, but looks like it might be worth a demo. Like, hope things are going well. And who knows, maybe he's like, yeah, we just signed up for these guys. Like, thanks so much. Or like, yeah, I'm going to check it out. And you don't know where these things are going to go. The big thing is that you're being strategically helpful throughout the process. That's the goal here. We're not selling. We are giving people the option to on-ramp and move to the next stage, or off-ramp in a way that feels comfortable to them. But we're just being strategically helpful, and we are moving through this process systematically. So that is a quick example about how the exponential relationship system works. And what I'd recommend for you is that you go through and you populate these 10 to 15 names once a month, and you do the activities under the advancing the relationship kind of next level actions, and you will grow your practice. And I want to show you a couple other resources that I've found helpful. One is called Thanks, THNKS. I don't have a relationship beyond the fact that I'm a paying client, but we will generally use this for sending gifts to clients, either for an experience or some type of holiday gift, birthday gift, just random "we're thinking about you" gifts. So this is an easy way to get this done. So for Model FA, we have like Model FA branded cupcakes, which is a nice touch. We just like to fatten our clients up. So if you're looking to get fatter, you can sign up for Model FA. And then Airbnb experiences. There are online and in-person experiences. So if you're like, I'd love to do a client event, don't want to plan it, that would suck. Or if your clients are spread out all around the country because you've niched down into these like profession-oriented niches, which require you to work across state lines, you can look at online experiences. You can do in-person experiences. I've got Austin up here as an example. There's music, there's food, all this different stuff that you do not need to plan. Somebody else will plan it for you, but you can obviously invite these people who are on the exponential relationship list. Obviously, depending on the city that you're in, there's going to be a website that shows you what's going on throughout the week. So this is Do 512. You can get a sense of all of the events that are going on in the city. It could be related to like political events, music, entertainment, etc. So just do a quick Google search to find the website. Most major cities, even regional cities, will have them, smaller cities. And then LinkedIn. LinkedIn is obviously a big focus for a lot of advisors, just making sure that they're sharing good content and that they're interacting with those that are more in that target and kind of lead stage. And one way to do that is we have a podcast, just to give you an example, where David, who's the president of Model FA, will interview interesting advisors, others in the industry that are doing cool things. and have them tell their story. So this is a couple benefits. Like one, the advisor community gets to hear from interesting individuals who are doing good things. And also we get to build relationships with these interesting individuals, and maybe they'll do business or share information with us. You can see here's Nick. He's a great guy, one of our former clients, and he's talking to David, and he's sharing this out on LinkedIn. So now, Nick's network of advisors now knows of Model FA and what we do. You could do a similar thing if you were focused on business owners or entrepreneurs or dentists. You kind of take them on, you interview them, interview other vendors in the ecosystem. So a lot of different ways that you can add value. I'm just trying to give you some ideas here. So that is all I've got. This is a long video, but I wanted to show you the process of the exponential relationship system. And I will be dropping this link in the description below the video. So there you have it. All you need to do in order to add 1 to 2 clients a month to your practice, have 2 to 3 rock solid COI relationships within the next 12 months, and significantly grow without spending a ton of money on marketing or other activities that are not effective in the earlier stages of your business, is just to find 10 to 15 people that you'd like to get to know better and you can be strategically helpful with, and then make sure that you do those actions. I guarantee you, if you do this consistently over the next 6 months, your practice will look way different than it does now.